everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different than all the videos that I've done on my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing 3 looks with 1 palette. So I've seen a lot of these videos floating around for quite some time now, and I've always wanted to do them. For the most part, since I am such a makeup junkie, whenever I buy a palette, I usually use it like a few times and then I just put it away until I decide to use it again. And it usually takes me a while to like grab that palette again, which is so bad. So that's why I kind of was inspired to do this kind of video, because I wanted to get the most out of my palettes that I have. So I was requested to do more looks with the Colourpop Yes Please palette, which I know this palette has been out of stock. It's so hard to find this palette. Every time it comes in stock, it like goes away so quickly. You really do have to grab it within the first 10 minutes that it's up on the website, because I know they make them in limited quantities. I don't think it's a limited edition palette per se. I know that it is really hard to get. But this is what the palette looks like. It's such a beautiful palette. You can make so many looks with it. And I'm really glad that I decided to do this, because it really helped me to be able to kind of branch out and make 3 totally different looks that didn't look similar at all. And I really do want to do this in the future. So if you guys can, go ahead and leave me down below in the comment sections your requests on which palette you would like for me to use in a video doing 3 looks with the 1 palette. I'm really excited for this video, and I really like how all 3 looks came out. I feel like for the most part all 3 looks are pretty easy. This one is probably the most complicated because it is a cut crease and it's all about just kind of mastering the technique. But once you get the technique mastered, it is so easy to do. If you guys want to learn how to do 3 looks with this 1 eyeshadow palette, then continue watching.
So I'm going to start off with the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, and I'm going to use this as my base for all 3 of the looks. And I'm just using a Jessup Kabuki brush to go ahead and buff that onto my eye. And of course, here's the star of the show, the Colourpop Yes Please palette, which is available right now, and I'll link it down below for you guys. So I'm going to start off with the color Note to Self with this Jessup Kabuki brush. It's a little bit fluffier than the one that I used to apply the eyeshadow primer with. And I'm just going to go ahead and use that as a transition shade. Next, I'm taking the shade GNO, Girls Night Out, and I'm taking that on this fluffy brush and just going to go ahead and buff that onto the whole entire eyelid area. And I'm doing this because I want to create a nice soft smoky effect onto the eye. And I just continue to blend that out. And then I'm going back in with the Kabuki brush just to blend it one more time. Then going back in with the flat shader brush in that same exact color. And I'm going to kind of intensify it onto the lid area, so that way it creates a nicer gradient effect. And then I'm taking a brown eyeliner from Jordana, and I'm just going to go ahead and line my upper lash line with this. You don't have to create a wing if you don't want to. I'm not. I'm just going to apply this as a base. And then I'm taking some of the shade French Kiss with this flat eyeliner brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply that right on top to kind of diffuse the eyeshadow as well as intensify the brown. And then once we've done that, then I'm going to take the color Full Zip, and I'm just going to take this shader brush and just apply that onto my brow bone area as well as around the eye, just to kind of make sure everything's nice and blended. And then going back in with the French Kiss color in that same exact eyeliner brush and just applying a little bit of that on the lower lash line to kind of smoke it out a little. Then I'm taking the color Butter Cake with this fluffy brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply that on my inner corner, and I'm going to use this as my inner corner highlight. I really love this color as an inner corner highlight. And then I'm taking a flat shader brush just to intensify that color a little more. And then I just used some of my Jordana Best Lash Extreme Mascara, and then I'm taking the shade Airplane Mode, and that's what I used on my lips for this look. And I also lined them with the Colourpop BFF3 lip liner. So this is the first look, and then we're going to go ahead and move right into the second look. So then I am taking the shade Note to Self again with that same exact kabuki brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply that into the crease and as well as kind of in the outer V area. And then I'm taking the shade GNO again, and I'm just taking that Kylie brush and just going to go ahead and apply that in the crease to intensify it a little bit more. And then I'm going into the shade French Kiss with that same exact brush, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that onto my outer V area and into the crease a little bit, but you mostly want to focus this on the outer corner of the eye. And as I was doing this, I realized that brush was a little big, so then I took the MAC 217 brush and did the same exact technique as the other eye, but this time I have a little bit more control as to where I'm applying it. And then I'm taking the shade Spoiled with that flat shader brush from earlier and just putting that right in the center of the eye, and this is just going to kind of help to blend in any other color that we put on the lid. And then I'm taking the shade Chauffeur, and I'm taking that on this MAC brush. I forget the name of it. It's a flat shader brush, but I'm going to go ahead and apply that into the inner corner of the eyelid area, and just kind of blend that into the red shade that we applied. Then I'm going back in with the 217 brush and just blending everything together, make sure there's no harsh lines. Then I'm going back into the French Kiss color, and I'm just applying that on my lower lash line again to kind of smoke it out and define the eyes some more. And then I'm just taking a pencil brush, or the 217 brush actually, and just blending that out to make it nice and smoky. And then I'm going into the Butter Cake color again as my inner corner highlight with the fluffy brush, and just intensifying it with the flat shader brush. And then before I forget, I'm taking the Full Zip color again, and this is a great color for the brow bone, so that's why I'm going to use it basically throughout the whole entire video. And then I decided to use my Salon Perfect Demi Wispy lashes, and I also used the colors Strip, and I think this is called Light Show or something like that. I'll link it down below, but I used that on the center of the lip, and this is what the finished look looks like. And I really enjoy how this lip color came out and how it goes with the eyes. So this is the second look, and then we're going to move right into the third one. So then I'm going back in. I know you thought I was going to go with that color, but I'm actually taking the color Champs, which is a really pretty peach color. And I'm just going to apply that as my crease color this time, but with the same exact kabuki brush. And then I'm going into the shade Spoiled with my MAC 217, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply that into the crease. And you want to be very careful as you're doing this, because this is going to be to create that cut crease shape. And I like this brush because I can still use the point of it to apply the color, but then it's nice and fluffy, so it blends it out at the same time. And then I'm just taking my Morphe M443 brush and just making sure it's nice and blended. Then I'm taking the color Champs and Full Zip again, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply that onto right above that red color, just to make sure it looks nice and blended. And then I am taking some of this bling shade, and I'm just using a little bit of it, so that way I can just kind of define the crease a little bit more and add a little bit of a shine to the look. And then I'm going back in with my MAC 217 brush to blend out all of the edges. And then I'm taking some concealer on this concealer brush from Sonia Kashuk, and I'm just going to go ahead and start using that to cut my crease. And you really want to take your time with this. Use really short strokes so that way you're nice and precise. And I like just using a little bit of product on the very tip of it, so that way it's very nice and easy to apply. And then here I'm just kind of creating the little wing shape at the very end. And then I'm just going to set that with some of the Full Zip and the Champs color. And I'm just going to apply that with this MAC brush. And then do the same thing on the other eye. And I decided to keep this clip so that way you guys can really see how I carve out that crease. Just because on this side of the camera you can really see what I'm doing a little bit better. And then I'm setting it one more time with those same exact two colors. And then I'm taking this eyeliner brush and the color French Kiss and Spoiled, and I'm taking a very little bit of those two colors, and this is just to really intensify that cut crease shape. And then I'm taking this really tiny little blending brush that I got off of Wish, and I'm just using that to really blend in everything without disturbing it or making it look too diffused. Because we still want to keep the harshness of the line, but you want to blend it out at the same time, if that makes sense. And then I'm going into this really pretty color called Louis, and I'm taking that on this flat synthetic brush and just applying that right on the lid. I really love this color so much. I don't know why I've never used it before until today, but I absolutely love it. I think it's one of my favorite colors in the whole entire palette. And don't mind all the weird faces that I make whenever I'm putting on makeup. And then I'm just taking the really pretty yellow called Mischief, and I'm taking that little tiny brush again, and I'm just applying that into the crease area just to add a little bit more of a blend on there. And then I'm taking the color Full Zip again and using that on my brow bone, make sure everything is nice and blended. And then I'm taking this Hard Candy eyeliner, and this is the first time that I'm using it, so I'm just using that to create a wing. And this eyeliner was actually pretty easy to use. It is a little bit of a weird shape, but I really like how the eyeliner came out. And then I'm taking the shade Bling again, and I'm using that on my lower lash line just to kind of intensify it. And then I'm taking some of the Full Zip color, and I'm using that on a pencil brush, and I'm just going to apply that in my inner corner as a base for the really bright yellow, which is the Mischief color. Taking that same exact brush and just applying that right on top. And I have to put down that white base so that way it really pops. You don't have to do it, but I really wanted it to be nice and vibrant. And then I'm just blending that out, and then taking a little bit of the butter cake on the very tip of the inner corner just to kind of brighten it a little more. And then I'm taking my Salon Perfect lashes again, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply those. And then after I have them on there with tweezers, I always use my finger to kind of push them up, so that way it makes the eyes look nice and open. And it's not much of a difference, but you can definitely tell the difference here. And then I use these two liquid lipsticks on my lips to create this lip color. I'll link them down below because I did forget to show them. But this is it for my video. I hope you guys did enjoy this 3 looks with 1 palette video. And as always, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and leave your requests down below. And if you guys recreate any looks, please make sure you guys do tag me on my Instagram and use my hashtag. And I will see you guys in the next one. Until then.